Bill O'Reilly here, Wednesday, May 27, 2020. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening across our nation. Gun violence in Chicago spikes over Memorial Day weekend. Millions of Americans avoiding doctors during the pandemic. Donald Trump says mail-in voting is rife with fraud. The National Hockey League will return. Americans turning to COVID campers for summer travel. Also ahead, what does Joe Biden really stand for? But first, at least 40 people shot, 10 killed in Chicago over the Memorial Day weekend, the worst period since 2015. Mayor Lori Lightfoot blaming the virus shutdown for the spike in violence, saying, quote, "It's frustrating because the courts are closed, our jail is closed, prosecutors are reluctant to bring new cases." Of course, violence has been out of control in certain neighborhoods in the Windy City for decades. New study showing 1 in 7 Americans delaying doctor visits and major medical emergencies due to COVID. An additional 6% report being turned away from emergency rooms because of the contagion. Researchers from Yale say hospital visits for heart problems down 40% in some areas. President Trump threatening to withhold federal funds from states that transition to mail-in voting. Mr. Trump believes the process is, quote, "substantially fraudulent. Mailboxes will be robbed. Ballots will be forged," unquote. Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, California, and other states believe the virus may inhibit voters from going to the polls, thus the mail-in movement. The National Hockey League unveiling a plan to resume play by summer. The mini-season will feature a 24-team playoff in 2 cities. The fans will have to watch from home, nobody in the arenas. The new trend in travel, COVID campers. Sales for RVs up as millions of Americans plan to hit the road while maintaining social distancing. Dealerships in Texas report a 50% jump in RV sales. The USA has more than 15,000 RV parks, but you'd better reserve quickly. In a moment, Joe Biden. What are his principles? Right back with that. Edward and his wife, Margaret, were looking forward to retirement. Edward started having serious health issues a few years before he turned 65 and had to take an unplanned early retirement. The loss of income and medical bills meant Edward could not afford his expenses, including the premiums on a $1 million life insurance policy. Faced with lapsing their policy for nothing, Edward and Margaret turned to Coventry Direct and were able to sell the policy for $130,000. If you own a life insurance or term policy that you don't need or can't afford, Coventry Direct can help you receive an average of 4 times more cash than you'd get from your life insurance carrier. You can even sell a portion of your existing policy and still maintain coverage with no future premium obligations. See if you qualify. Please call 1-800-888-3791 or visit CoventryHelpsSeniors.com. That's 1-800-888-3791 or visit CoventryHelpsSeniors.com. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. Will the real Joe Biden please stand up? The former vice president is, of course, set to run against Donald Trump in November. And the key question now is, what does Mr. Biden really stand for? Here's a rundown. He once considered himself somewhat conservative. In a 1974 article in the Washingtonian magazine, Biden was quoted saying, "When it comes to civil rights and civil liberties, I'm a liberal, but that's it. I'm really quite conservative on most other issues," unquote. Apparently that has changed. On abortion, Joe Biden once supported the Hyde Amendment that restricts federal funding for abortions because some taxpayers oppose the procedure on religious grounds. Now, Biden supports tax dollars for the procedure, even though he is a Roman Catholic. Joe Biden also refuses to comment on issues like partial birth abortion, saying, quote, each abortion is a tragedy, but he will not support any limits. On the crime front, the former VP spearheaded the 1984 Comprehensive Crime Control Act, along with very conservative Senator Strom Thurmond. It increased penalties for drug use, cracked down on organized crime, as well as inner-city gangs. Today, Joe Biden believes too many people are incarcerated in the USA, and too many of them are black and brown. He says, quote, to build safe and healthy communities, we need to rethink who we're sending to jail. No one should be incarcerated for drug use alone. Black mothers and fathers should feel confident that their children are safe walking the streets of America. What about gay marriage? Well, in the 2008 vice presidential debate with Sarah Palin, Joe Biden said, quote, neither Barack Obama nor I support redefining from the civil side what constitutes marriage. Now, Mr. Biden has changed. Quote, I am absolutely comfortable with the fact that men marrying men, women marrying women, and heterosexual men and women marrying one another are entitled to the same exact rights, unquote. On taxes, Mr. Biden wants more. Quote, increase taxes on wealthy Americans to finance the $1.7 trillion climate plan. Well, that would be an awful lot of new taxes. On marijuana, Joe Biden says, quote, there's not nearly been enough evidence that has been acquired as to whether or not it's a gateway drug. But 2 weeks later, the former vice president said, I don't think it's a gateway drug. There's no evidence I've seen to suggest that. Mr. Biden does not oppose legalized pot. On illegal immigration, in 1996, Biden helped pass the Illegal Immigration Reform and Responsibility Act. That law more than doubled the number of agents patrolling the border and allowed for the immediate deportation of those who commit a misdemeanor or a felony. 2006, he voted for the Secure Fence Act. So you can see that Joe Biden has changed a lot of his opinions. I'm Bill O'Reilly, and I approve that message by actually writing it. For more news analysis, please visit BillO'Reilly.com for the best pandemic coverage. In a moment, something you might not know. A former White House economist says there's a 100% chance of a recession and predicts 1 million jobs will be lost in April. So many Americans are moving to physical gold and silver as a recession-proof safe haven for their retirement. American Hartford Gold Group is a trusted leader in gold and silver, and they make it simple and easy to get started. They're family-owned and have an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. Very important. Until you hold a precious metal in your hand, you'll never fully know the experience of being in control of your own retirement. If you are listening to me right now, the American Hartford Gold Group is offering new clients up to $500 in free silver. All you have to do is give them a call, 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text SILVER to 65532. Please call the American Hartford Gold Group now, 877-444-4653, or text SILVER to 65532. Now, the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. COVID quickly climbing the list as one of the planet's worst pandemics. 5.5 million cases worldwide, resulting in at least 350,000 fatalities since January. But it's not even close to the deadliest virus of all time, the Black Plague. 200 million killed from 40 separate outbreaks spread across 6 centuries, including one in California. Here's that story. In 1906, 3,000 San Franciscans died in one of the worst natural disasters in American history. A 7.9 magnitude earthquake destroyed 80% of San Francisco. Raging fires left 250,000 people homeless. With infrastructure destroyed, garbage and sewage piled up in the city by the bay. A local reporter described the situation as a, quote, rat's paradise, and he was right. Thousands of rodents descended on San Francisco, bringing with them a deadly pandemic from the Middle Ages. On May 27, 1907, 113 years ago today, a sailor crossing San Francisco Bay suddenly fell ill. He was rushed to the hospital, mingled with nurses, doctors, and other patients who were all baffled by the symptoms: swollen neck, painful armpits, and a raging fever. Within a month, 40 people had contracted the Black Death, the bubonic plague. The solution was summed up in a New York Times headline, quote, "Stamp out plague by killing rats. Every rodent is doomed," unquote. Officials launched a $2 million attack on California's rat population, and it worked. The state was plague-free by 1909. About 200 Californians died from plague back then. And here's something else you might not know. The Black Death is still around. Each year, the CDC reports a few cases, mostly from hikers getting a little too friendly with wild rodents. It can typically be knocked out now with antibiotics. The bug is most commonly found in New Mexico, Colorado, Oregon, Nevada, and California. Back after this. Our world has changed when you venture outside. Face coverings are the new normal, and the kind of face covering you use matters. The Boomer Materials 30-day face coverings provide 92.2% antibacterial protection. It's comfortable, easy to breathe in, speak with, and comes in both adult and children's sizes. Not only are the Boomer Naturals face coverings highly rated, but they're affordable at less than 30 cents per day. These Boomer Natural face coverings can be used up to 30 days by hand washing them with soap and water. I recommend you order yours now at boomernaturals.com. Use code BILL20 at checkout. Save 20% every time you shop. Plus, get free shipping on orders more than $50. That's code BILL20 at boomernaturals.com. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.